An Eagle lands atop the 100 best NFL players going into 2025. Find out who it is, plus which brand is now a sponsor of the Eagles Tush Push, and we'll preview Week 1 epic matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. Without wasting any more time, let's dive right into it. What is up, y'all, and welcome to 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast powered by Old City Sports Network, the best network for all your Philadelphia sports needs. This is your host, Michael Roscoe. It is finally here, y'all. The first regular season game of the 2025 NFL season starts tonight at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time against our rival from down south, the Dallas Cowboys. A lot has happened over the past week, so I'll do a brief recap of the major events before diving deeper into a few topics. Starting off, we got news about the 2025 Kelly Green games. The Birds announced their Kelly Green games last Thursday, and we get not one, not two, but three Kelly Green games this year, all against divisional rivals. The Birds will wear their Kelly Green jerseys in Week 8 versus the Giants, Week 12 against the Dallas Cowboys, and Week 18 against the Washington Commanders. We had a couple roster moves take place. The Eagles continue to make roster moves even as the roster cut-down date has come and gone. The Birds signed a couple of familiar faces back to the practice squad, including wide receiver and punt returner Britton Covey and safety Marcus Epps. The Eagles add a proven special teams player they could elevate / potentially sign up to the active roster later in the season, providing current returner Cooper DeJean some relief as he's playing double duty with returning punts and starting in the nickel on defense. And now with Marcus Epps, I like the idea of adding another safety since our safety room is so small, but I am concerned though because he has such a short window of time to learn the scheme under, for him, a new defensive coordinator with Vic Fangio. Because the last time Epps was in Philadelphia, he was under Jonathan Gannon, who is now the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. I gotta imagine, though, we elevate him in Week 1, but I could also see that not happening, but you never know. It's unpredictable at this point. God forbid we suffer an injury in the safety room. Epps is going to have to step in, and if he doesn't got that scheme down 100%, then that's going to be a problem, y'all. And quarterbacks are definitely going to target him if they see that he's fucking up. Additionally, with Marcus Epps, I've been critical of him in the past, but I don't like the fact, like Sidney Brown, Marcus Epps can approach tackles like a bull in a china shop, and sometimes it's just so fucking out of control that he messes up and misses crucial plays or tackles, including giving up touchdowns. Although it does make me feel a little bit better that he was one of the top graded safeties according to PFF in the 2023 season, where he played all 17 games with the Raiders, and he tore his ACL the following season, preventing him from playing in 2024. Plus, he wasn't the greatest in the 2022 Super Bowl with the Eagles, and Philly let him walk the next season for a reason, probably more than one, similar to how we let CJ Gardner-Johnson go to Houston. Now, personally, I believe that there were better safety options the Eagles could have looked at, but who knows? We could see another big signing here soon, hopefully. I'm praying at this point. All right, next on the agenda. As the play heard round the world lives on after the Green Bay Packers and other hatin'-ass teams failed to get the play banned, the Eagles' most notorious play over the last few years, known to some as the brotherly shove, but most famously known as the tush push, the play itself has an official sponsor. It was announced that Dude Wipes, yes, Dude Wipes, the humorous flushable wipe company, which is one of the most successful companies in their game apparently, I didn't even know that, is now the sponsor of the Philadelphia Eagles play the tush push. If you haven't seen their ad yet, the Philadelphia Eagles posted it on their social media pages. Go ahead and check it out. It's kind of funny, in my opinion. And especially considering how much the social media team has trolled everyone, including the Packers, with tush push highlights and t-shirts and other things like that. It only makes it a little funnier. And they also like embrace the whole like butt theme that comes with the tush push. But anyway, congrats to Dude Wapes for partnering with the best team in the league. Saquon Barkley lands at number 1 of the NFL Top 100 list for the 2025 season. The top 10 players, as ranked by their peers, finally debuted on NFL Network earlier this week, and Eagles running back Saquon Barkley landed at the number 1 spot. And honestly, it was much deserved. It didn't surprise me a lot. Homie earned that shit. Many talented players put Saquon at the top of their lists, including really good guys such as Justin Jefferson, Pat Surtain, Micah Parsons, Lane Johnson, and others. Between his over 2,000 rushing yard regular season, his 7 rushing touchdowns of 60 or more yards, his 15 total touchdowns, the backwards hurdle, and just his overall speed and dominance in the 2024 season, it's no surprise that the former Giant, now Eagles fucking legend, tops this year's list. Congrats to Saquon Barkley, and here's to hopefully another historic season. All right, next topic, and this is kind of interesting to me. The Eagles will be off the field for the banner drop. According to the Eagles Wire, it has been reported that the Eagles will be skipping the banner ceremony during tonight's matchup, in which the 2024 Super Bowl champion banner will be dropped and displayed to nearly 70,000 fans at the Link, a moment that Eagles fans have been popularizing and waiting for ever since the 2025 schedule was confirmed. Now, to me at least, I don't necessarily mind the move by the Birds. I actually think it's kind of smart considering the several times during the offseason that Eagles players and coaches have been very outspoken about the idea that the Eagles have moved on from last season and are focusing on this season. Collectively, they're saying statements like, we're not defending shit. It's a new season. The chapter has closed on 2024. We are in 2025, and others like those themselves. So to me, skipping the ceremony keeps the central idea consistent of where their focus is on, which is this season. And that's really what they should be focusing on, which is not only the game, but hopefully winning out this season to win another Super Bowl. All right, now this is obviously kind of late, and it doesn't directly impact the Eagles, but it kind of does. We got the trade heard round the world. The Eagles will no longer have to face one of the toughest defensive ends in the game twice a year anymore, since Dallas decided it wasn't worth it to keep this star player. Last Thursday, in a shocking announcement, the Dallas Cowboys announced that they traded All-Pro defensive end Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers for a 2026 first-round pick, a 2027 first-round pick, and defensive tackle Kenny Clark. This is huge for the Eagles, as facing Micah Parsons once is difficult enough, let alone twice, and with this trade, the Eagles will only have to face him once this year when they play the Packers in Week 10. Now, I know you can't pay everyone on a team, but for fuck's sake, when you have an incredible player like Micah Parsons, you fucking pay the man. The dude's had at least 12 or more sacks in each of his 4 years in the NFL, with over 250 career total tackles, 9 forced fumbles, and 4 career fumble recoveries. With how abysmal the run defense was last year for Dallas, allowing offenses nearly an average of 5 rushing yards per attempt, which was the worst in the league last year, one would think you would want to keep your best player who is in your fucking run defense. I don't know what Jerry Jones was thinking. Not sure if he's just cheap or what's going on. But letting Parsons walk when you have the money to then pay Deron Bland nearly $100 million didn't look like the best decision in the world to me. Plus, I think it's ironic as fuck that they traded him to the Packers, who over the last multiple instances they played each other in the playoffs have just dominated the fuck out of the Cowboys. But I mean, for the Eagles, it's fucking great because, again, we won't have to face them twice a year. But even if we did, our tackles Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson are the best duo in the league and have held their own against Parsons and other players of similar talent. But overall, I think this move will benefit the Eagles, at least in, the short run of a few years or so. All right, y'all, the main topic of this week's episode, the matchup the NFL has been waiting for. Not just because it's week 1, but it's an epic rivalry that spreads across generations. Dallas quarterback Dak Prescott returns to the field, which should be a heavy consideration for Vic Fangio and the Eagles defense. But they face an Eagles defense that, despite losing a couple of key players in free agency, retains hella valuable players such as Jalen Carter, Zach Bond, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Jalix Hunt, and Nolan Smith, amongst others. All of which had strong contributions to the number 1 Eagles defense from last year. The Cowboys defense will have to face an offense that retains all but one starting player from last season, with incredible weapons such as A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and of course the man himself, Saquon Barkley. Now here's a few comments, thoughts, notes on what I think the Eagles need to do if they want to get a win tonight. First thing, the defense needs to remember they ain't playing the same QB from last year. Dak Prescott returns from injury and he's looking to make his comeback. Prior to the injury benching him for the second half of the season last year, he's been putting up 4,000 plus passing yards in 2 of the last 3 seasons and has thrown 30 or more touchdown passes in 3 of the last 6 seasons, with 2 of those 6 seasons in which he only played 8 games or less. And now with an additional weapon of George Pickens, I'm thinking Dallas is going to rely heavily on their pass game, and our secondary needs to be ready for that. Now, if the Birds have not been lining up Quinyon Mitchell against wide receiver ones in practice, regardless of what side of the field they're on, I personally think he'll need to do that against Dallas. I don't want to see Quinyon Mitchell lining up against anyone who is not CeeDee Lamb. If this does occur, I would expect for Pickens to have a big game. But even if Quinyon remains on his side of the field, the safeties need to be ready to make the tackle just in case our corners get beat in their coverage. Communication between the secondary amongst each other is going to be extremely crucial for this matchup. Next, on the offensive side of the ball, don't be afraid to heavily explore the pass game. It's no secret that the Eagles have one of the best, if not the best, run games in the league right now. And with Dallas's run defense having little success last season, it's easy to understand why people would expect Saquon to get a fuck ton of touches in this game, especially now that the Dallas Cowboys don't have Micah Parsons. But I got to imagine that's what Dallas, and honestly probably the rest of the league at this point, is going to anticipate. So they've probably prepared for this shit all off season long. Jalen shouldn't be afraid to heavily utilize the pass game. He's often criticized for his, quote, lack of passing numbers, but we saw how successful he was with the Eagles passing game in the Super Bowl, with touchdowns to both A.J. Brown and, of course, the dagger to Devontae Smith. Our offensive weapons need to have strong communication as well, and as soon as they see a weak spot in the defense, you have to jump on that opportunity because you might not get it again, even if that means drastically changing up the play or calling an audible at the last minute. For example, if our offense notices the defense is going into man coverage, take advantage of that shit and look for A.J. fucking Brown. Against man coverage, A.J. Brown is damn near unstoppable. While new Dallas defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus uses a rush-heavy and zone-heavy defense with 2 high safeties, this doesn't mean that if they needed to, the Cowboys can't shift into man coverage, especially if they're getting continuously beat by Philly's offense, either in the run game or within the short passing game. Like our defense, our offense needs to be consistent, clear, and concise with their communication. And with Jalen Hurts increasing his ability to read defense as well, he'll need to look for these decisions in very short amount of times. And finally, and this might come as a surprise to some people, but I think we need to look for Dallas Goedert to have a big game. Now, It may contradict the last point a little bit, but I think the Eagles should look for Dallas to have a very successful game for a few reasons. A lot of the times, all eyes are either on Saquon, AJ, Devontae. You can even throw Jalen Hurts in there with his rush ability. When this happens, the Eagles have seen success at sneaking the ball over to Dallas Goedert. Despite injury issues, Goedert has been proven to be extremely reliable in the pass game. If you look at his performance from last year, he's had a ton of success with crossing routes to the middle of the field. These quick, short routes allow Jalen to find a quick open target, especially during blitzes, because Goedert is very good at getting separation from defenders and gaining tons of yards after catch. It's honestly pretty crazy to me. Think of the game against the Saints in week 3 when everyone thought like the Saints were going to be good as shit, and Dallas Goedert just fucking wiped the floor with them. In that game, Goedert was able to sell corner routes against the safeties when they came up low, but then would gain massive separation from the defenders by crossing in the middle of the field at the last second for huge gains all game. As I mentioned in the last point, Eberflus's defense relies on a 4-man rush and typically 2 high safeties, with occasionally having a single high safety. But with this type of defense, you could expect a lot of rushing defenders and the safeties remaining high just in case for those go routes to A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith. But all this leaves the middle of the field wide open for Dallas Goedert to beat the linebackers or the nickelback for big catching gains. Additionally, he's had tons of success on like 5-yard or less flat routes to the outside. Sometimes they're within screens. He's had success in those areas too. Think of the Packers playoff game, the first matchup against the Rams, and Week 18 for the Giants. He's helped convert short 3rd and 4th down moments with these types of routes, which have definitely contributed to the Eagles' success throughout the season. Even if Goedert doesn't get a touchdown, he'll get you down the field quickly and efficiently. Over his career, he's averaged nearly 12 yards per catch, plus his longest reception average per season is 41 yards. Due to these and other factors, I think the Eagles need to look at getting the ball to Dallas Goedert way more often than I think they're planning on. And I think with that, he'll have a big game tonight. All right, before we wrap things up, I'm going to give you guys my predictions. Now, there's been tons of predictions with the Eagles taking the dub over Dallas, and I'm going to be one of them. I don't think it'll be as easy as everyone thinks it will be, but as long as everyone does their job, I gotta say, I think the Birds are coming on top with a win, and they'll do that with a score of 27-14. I'm predicting that A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, and Dallas Goedert will have a touchdown each, with Jake Elliott kicking a field goal for 3. I think with the sports books like having like all these promos for Saquon Barkley specifically, he's not going to get a touchdown because of that, and it'll make people lose a bunch of money. All right, y'all, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you all for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or follow on YouTube, X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok by searching at 2nd and 15, or by the full name 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast. You can find the audio for each and every single episode releasing Thursday mornings on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Player FM, Pocket Casts, or wherever you get your podcasts, with the video uploading to YouTube later that same day. This episode, 2nd and 15, and Old City Sports Network are sponsored by Decals by Aaron. Check out decalsbyaaron.com for all your Delco products and needs. No one beats Decals by Aaron. Once again, thank you all for joining in. This is 2nd and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast powered by Old City Sports Network. We will see you all next week, but don't forget to check out the game tonight against Dallas, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time. For y'all on the West Coast, that's 5:20. For y'all on the other side of the world in like New Zealand, you're going to be up early as shit in the morning, but if you're a real Eagles fan, you're going to get up and you're going to watch this game. See you all next week. Don't forget to stay fly like an eagle, and as always, go Birds!